How's it going, guys? It's your boy Kanji FPL and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be breaking down my game week 2 points as well as talking about maybe a transfer I may or may not have made, as well as breaking down my game week 3 team selection, including my captaincy analysis. Now, game week 2 was an absolute shambles, bro. I fell from 600k to 4 million because of the Norwegian robot. I didn't expect him to get a hat trick, bro. That's unreal. I don't even own him. Some people triple captained him. Like, game week 2 was unreal. Regardless, we'll break it down over the course of this video. If I provide some value to you, make sure that you click the unsubscribe button. Make sure you dislike the video. And without further ado, let's jump right into my game week 2 team review. The theme for Game Week 2 was always going to be about damage limitation. I knew Haaland was coming up against a newly promoted side at home in Ipswich. I knew there was going to potentially be a haul on the cards, especially given the way that Liverpool destroyed them in Game Week 1. But I did not expect maximum punishment, that's for sure. I didn't expect a hat trick. Otherwise, I would have started with a Salah plus Haaland structure and then moved Haaland out myself. But that's okay. That's how the cookie crumbles. And the question I asked myself is, am I really down on points because of captaincy? And I feel like the answer to that is actually no, surprisingly, because when I look at the only Haaland structures, they've actually captained Isak in Game Week 1 for 5 points, and then captained Haaland in Game Week 2 for 17 points, totaling 22. But players that have only Salah and have just relied on Salah for captaincy have gotten 24 points, actually beating out the only Haaland structures. And the structure that has actually won out is actually the structure that's the most popular, which is Salah plus Haaland, because you likely would have captained Salah in Game Week 1 for 14 and then captained Haaland in Game Week 2 for 17. So those are the real winners. I feel like the bigger issue for me is that the only points that I have received are coming from my Liverpool and my Arsenal players, and every single one of my differential players has blanked. Bruno, Eze, McNeil, Muniz, Armstrong, and Isak have all blanked. And I look at my strikers and I think to myself, what was I thinking? And I feel like I need to break down the players that I have picked and decide which are the ones that I want to keep and which are the ones that I want to move on. But overall, 54 points from Game Week 2 is fine. I know that I was going to get hurt. I just didn't think it would have been as bad as it was. I do kind of feel hard done by, however, because when I look at the players that have picked up very strong expected goal involvement but haven't gotten any attacking returns, I have 5 of the top 8 players. And that's the most frustrating part about FPL at times, is that you pick up players because they have good fixtures, they're getting themselves into good positions, but sometimes they just don't pick up the attacking returns. So I have to ask myself, are these players that I have to sell, or are these players that I can hold? And specifically when I look at Bruno and Eze, I classify them as just holds. Bruno has picked up very solid expected goal involvement, picking up 2 XGI, 1.3 XG. I know a majority of that came from the first game week, and then in the second game, he actually created a very good chance for Garnacho, who scored it, but it came off Xerxes, who was on the line, so that was counted as offside, and I didn't get my Bruno points. So I feel like Bruno just done what he's done in previous seasons, where he picks up the strong XGI, but just dodged FPL points. I just have to be patient with him. He's picked up good positions, and I'm not worried about him. The points will come. I look at Eze, who's picked up 1.0 expected goal involvement, had 4 chances created, 6 shots in the box, and 4 on target. He is getting into good attacking positions. When I watch him, he passes my eye test with flying colors. So I'm very happy to be owning Bruno and Eze. So if I go back to my team in particular, I'm very happy with my midfield. It's more so the strikers that I'm concerned with, as well as my differential 5th midfielder. So it's Armstrong, Isak, Muniz, and McNeil. Now, of course, a majority of these players are still on this list, where I have Armstrong, who picked up 0.8 expected goal involvement in the first game week against a 10-man team. McNeil, who picked up 0.8 expected goal involvement, but you can see that none of it is actually XG. Most of it is XA, because he's going to be on the set pieces, a creator for Everton. Then I have Muniz, who picked up very solid expected goal involvement, mostly coming from game week 2, because in game week 1, he blanked against Man United, where they kept him quiet. But if we look at his underlying data, he picked up 9 shots in the box, 3 of them being on target. So I think Muniz is not really an issue. It's more so the McNeil and Armstrong spots where I think I need to spend a transfer in order to secure a better attacker within my FPL team. I look at Adam Armstrong, who's supposed to be a 90-minute man on the penalties for Southampton, and I'm sure he will get points over the course of the season. And as long as he's my 8th attacker and I'm not relying upon him every week, I think it's fine, especially given the fact that he has some good fixtures coming up. I'm happy to hold him and just relegate him to my bench, where I'm only playing him 3 times out of the next 15 weeks. In order to do so, I need to be playing my McNeil spot as well as my Muniz spot on a weekly basis. And for now, I'm happy with Muniz, but I'm looking at McNeil and boy, I cannot believe I brought an Everton attacker into my team. What was I doing? That was a big mistake. And sometimes, when you're playing FPL, you'll just make mistakes like this. The thing is, you have to just rectify them immediately and not let the problem linger. And so I have already made a transfer on my midfielder, and I brought in one of the players that I have been targeting, there are two options that I have considered. The first is going to be Morgan Rogers, and the second is going to be my boy Antoine Semenyo, who was my differential from last year. Now, when I look at Morgan Rogers, he's a 5.0 mid, and when I watched the Aston Villa Arsenal game, I honestly thought he was the best player on the pitch, with no disrespect to anyone else from Arsenal or Aston Villa. But I'm not sure that his 90 minutes will continue, because right now, Watkins is only getting 60 minutes while Rogers is getting 90, and I'm not sure that trend will persist. In addition, I think Aston Villa also have Champions League on the horizon, so there will definitely be rotation within the team. And I think somebody like Morgan Rogers is not so high on the pecking order that he avoids rotation. I think he's one of the prime players in positions to be rotated, hit in and out, even Leon Bailey as well. So I'm not sure that minutes will be stable, but I think the fixtures are just so great that it's worth it. You know, coming up against Leicester, Everton, Wolves, and Ipswich in the next 4 weeks, it feels obvious to go there. However, I've decided not to do so because when I look at my differential of Antoine Semenyo, he has actually wowed me. So let me break it down for you. The first thing is that you're paying 0.5 more than Morgan Rogers, but you're getting somebody that's probably in a better situation. There's no European football, and he's kind of one of the best players on the team now with Solanke out of the squad. The reason that I didn't consider Semenyo in preseason is that my initial assumption was that Bournemouth would not be a good team given the fact that Solanke has left. However, when I look at the underlying XG from the matches that they've played against Nottingham Forest and against Newcastle, they've actually picked up more expected goal involvement than their opponents in those fixtures. And at times, you think that when a star player leaves, the club will not be good. However, it just emphasizes the importance of having a very good manager and a very good system. And I just really rate Iriola, and I'm very surprised to see them perform as well as they have. And that's why somebody like Semenyo has caught my eye. Within certain clubs, there are players that are rotation players, then there are important players, and then there are crucial players. I felt like last year Semenyo was between a rotation to an important player, but with Solanke gone, I think Semenyo has earned the trust of his coach based on the fact that he picked up 12 attacking returns from 7 underlying expected goal involvement last year. And I think that the XG that Solanke had accumulated will be split up between the other attackers. They brought in a new striker in Ivan Nielsen who will pick up probably a majority of that expected goal involvement, but I'm expecting Kluivert, Tavernier, and Semenyo to all get a slice of the Dominic Solanke expected goal involvement that he was hogging. So I think there is going to be more XG to be shared around, and that was found immediately because Semenyo only had 7 expected goal involvement over the 25 games that he started. However, in the first 2 matches, he already has 2 expected goal involvement, which is really solid. That's more than Bukayo Saka as well as Mo Salah so far this season. If this is your first time on my channel, you may not know this, but I have owned Antoine Semenyo last year where I benched Phil Foden and I started Semenyo for his double game week and he got me a 15-point haul. So he has FPL pedigree, he has picked up attacking returns in the past, he has already earned my trust, he's passed my eye test multiple times whenever I've watched him. I really just rate this player at this point. And I don't want to say that I have any bias towards Semenyo or towards Bournemouth at all. I just feel like there are certain players that when you watch them, they just wow you. And I just feel like if you go and pause this video and you watch the Bournemouth Nottingham Forest as well as the Bournemouth Newcastle highlights, you will completely understand what I'm saying. He will remind you of some of the best players in the league. Now, the last point that I'm really sold on in terms of bringing Semenyo into my team is that he rotates almost perfectly with Adam Armstrong, where I would likely just play Semenyo every single week, apart from game week 5, game week 8, and game week 10, where he plays against Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City. And that's where I'm going to be playing Adam Armstrong, who plays against Ipswich at home, Leicester at home, as well as Everton at home. So that rotation is almost perfect. It just sort of allows Semenyo to become my hero, while I have Adam Armstrong, who will be his protector. Overall, a 5.5 million midfielder that has a very good path to expected minutes and has room to improve and has probably increased in importance towards the manager. I just feel like this is an absolute no-brainer. He's probably one of the most undervalued picks in FPL so far this season. So this is the way that my team is going to line up for Game Week 3. I have considered dropping somebody like Saliba to a Leif Davis, but I do want to see Leif Davis play before I put him right into my FPL team, especially dropping one of the most consistent assets in an Arsenal defender who have just returned back-to-back clean sheets. So for now, I think I'll just start both. Trent is going to be away playing against Man United, but Trent has been so unlucky. I just feel like he's due for a massive haul. I'm not sure he'll get it against Man U, but he always has the attacking threat, so you can always play him in any fixture whenever you own him. Moving on to my midfielders, I've got Saka, Bruno, Salah, Eze, Isak, who are all on the penalties for their clubs. Semenyo is starting over Armstrong, and then I'm going to be starting Muniz. The million dollar question for me is going to be about captaincy. I've got Mo Salah playing away at Manchester United, and then I have Bukayo Saka playing at home to Brighton. On paper, I think Saka is the slightly better captain, maybe 10% better than Salah, but I'm going to present my case for actually captaining Mo Salah. Now, I am completely biased because I am a Liverpool fan and I have lots of great memories of Salah destroying Manchester United. But I do want to mention that because Man U are a big club and there are so many players that support Man U as well as content creators, like look at Ross, FPL Raptor, or look at Let's Talk FPL. I'm sure there are other Manchester United content creators as well. And I feel like they won't be looking to captain somebody like Salah against their team. So that would make Mo one of the best differentials in the game. When I look at the team data between Arsenal and Liverpool from last year as well as this year, Liverpool put up more XG as a team. In addition, Mo Salah actually picks up more XG per 90 last year as well as this year than Bukayo Saka. So regardless of if he's at home or if he's away, I feel like the better attacking data from Liverpool and Salah sort of counteract Saka being at home as well as having a better fixture. So to me, it's a very 50-50 decision, but it just comes to the historical significance of what Salah has done in this fixture. Salah has the most goals against Manchester United in Premier League history, picking up 14 goals and 4 assists in 15 matches. In addition, Liverpool have played against Manchester United multiple times in the Prem. In the last 3 games, whenever Manchester United have been at home playing against Liverpool, they've conceded 9 XG in the last 3 games. Like, that's crazy. And I know it sounds a little bit weird, but given the fact that it's away from home, I'm actually more confident in Mo because I think there's no way Erik ten Hag can set up with tactics where he's at home looking to just like park the bus and counterattack. I don't think a real big club can play like that and the fans would be happy about it. So I think Manchester United will have the onus and responsibility to push forward, and that will leave gaps in behind for Mo Salah. In addition, Luke Shaw is injured. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is gone. So who's going to be guarding Mo Salah? Diego Dallo? It's good that Lisandro Martinez is fit, when that's good for Manchester United. But we saw what Salah did to Lisandro last time. We scored 7 goals with him in the lineup. So I just feel like this is the type of fixture where I've had too many positive memories to back against the King. From what I've seen from him in the first 2 weeks, 14 points and 10 points, it's just Mo Salah set and forget captaincy if he's in your team. There's nothing to really worry about. Saka is not as explosive as Mo, so I still expect Saka to get a return, but I'm just not sure I can back for him to get 2 or 3. Whereas I feel like if Mo scores 1 and Man United push up, I could see him destroying Man U. So I know I'm a Liverpool fan and I do have the bias, but I just feel like this fixture is actually really good for Mo, and I'm going to be captaining the Egyptian King as my differential in Game Week 3. So this is the way that my team is going to be set up for Game Week 3. Hopefully I provided some value to you. If I did, make sure you hit the dislike button and unsubscribe, and I'll see y'all again soon. Peace.